Welcome to Skytech-Lens. In a landmark decision that will echo through the halls of government and industry alike, the Supreme Court has struck down the Trump-era steel and aluminum tariffs, fundamentally reshaping American trade policy for years to come, and sending a strong message about the nation's commitment to fair and open commerce. The ruling signals clear limits on a president's ability to unilaterally alter the nation's economic relationships under the guise of national security, emphasizing the importance of checks and balances in the American system. For decades, the executive branch expanded its power over foreign commerce, often bypassing Congress in the name of urgent threats. But the court has now drawn a definitive line, returning significant authority to Congress and reaffirming its constitutional role in shaping trade policy. Businesses across the country welcome the move, anticipating a return to a more stable, rules-based trading system that allows for long-term planning and investment, rather than sudden policy shifts. The decision also reassures global partners that U.S. economic policy is guided by law, not the whims of a single leader, strengthening trust and cooperation with allies and trading partners worldwide. While national security remains a valid and pressing concern, the court now demands rigorous, transparent justification for such measures, ensuring that future actions are carefully scrutinized and justified. The immediate effect is relief for businesses and families who can now look forward to more predictable prices and supply chains. But the long-term impact is a renewed faith in the durability and fairness of American economic governance. This ruling redefines how the U.S. balances economic interests with national security, ensuring powerful tools aren't used for mere protectionism, but are reserved for genuine threats, preserving both prosperity and principle for generations to come. At the heart of the Supreme Court's ruling lies a powerful message about the limits of presidential authority in the United States. This landmark decision serves as a direct check on executive power, reminding the nation that even the president is not above the law or immune from oversight. Chief Justice Roberts, writing for the majority, emphasized that the president had overstepped the boundaries set by Congress, particularly under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act, which was never meant to grant unlimited authority. The court made it clear that Congress did not intend to hand the president a blank check to label economic challenges as threats to national security whenever convenient. From now on, presidents must demonstrate a credible and immediate link between specific imports and a genuine threat to national defense, rather than relying on broad or speculative claims. This decision compels future administrations to collaborate more closely with Congress, raising the standard for imposing trade restrictions and ensuring greater transparency and accountability in the process. The implications of this ruling reach far beyond trade policy, signaling a new era of judicial skepticism toward unchecked presidential power in a variety of policy areas. Legal experts now see this as a significant precedent, one that could shape the outcome of future cases involving sweeping executive actions, from national emergencies to regulatory rollbacks. With this decision, the Supreme Court has ushered in a new era of scrutiny and balance, ensuring that unilateral actions from the White House will face greater judicial review and constitutional checks. The story of the tariffs begins in March 2018, when the U.S. government imposed a sweeping 25% duty on imported steel. At the same time, a 10% tariff was placed on aluminum, with the stated goal of protecting American producers considered essential for national security and economic stability. However, the effects of these tariffs quickly spread far beyond the steel and aluminum industries. Automakers, construction companies, and even beverage manufacturers, who rely on metal for cans and machinery, were suddenly faced with much higher costs for their raw materials. Most businesses, unable to absorb these increased expenses, passed them on to consumers. This fueled inflation, driving up prices on a wide range of everyday goods, from new cars and appliances to canned food and soft drinks. The tariffs also triggered a wave of retaliation from key U.S. allies. Countries like Canada and the European Union responded with their own tariffs on American exports, escalating tensions and sparking a global trade dispute. American farmers, who rely heavily on exports, and manufacturers found themselves caught in the crossfire, facing shrinking markets and growing uncertainty about the future. While a handful of domestic steel and aluminum producers enjoyed short-term gains, the broader U.S. economy began to feel the strain. Small businesses struggled to stay afloat, and some communities saw factories close their doors. Economic studies estimated that the tariffs cost the U.S. economy around $125 billion each year, a staggering figure that rippled through industries nationwide. The fallout included the loss of approximately 500,000 jobs, as companies downsized or shut down in response to higher costs and reduced demand. For the average American household, these policies meant paying an extra $2,400 per year, money that could have gone towards savings, education, or healthcare. The widespread economic pain and controversy set the stage for a major legal showdown, one that would ultimately reach the steps of the Supreme Court. The case would become a national referendum, forcing the country to confront the true cost, intent, and consequences of the tariffs for American society. Legal challenges to the tariffs began almost immediately, with businesses arguing the president misused the law for protectionism, not national security. Early court rulings favored the executive, citing judicial deference on security matters. But as economic harm mounted, the argument shifted. Plaintiffs claimed the administration failed to provide a rational link between imports from allies and real security threats. This refined legal strategy persuaded the Supreme Court to take up the case. The justices faced a fundamental question: is the president's power to impose tariffs for national security reasons unlimited? The case consolidated lawsuits nationwide, becoming a major test of the separation of powers. The outcome would set a precedent for presidential authority in the modern era. The Supreme Court's ruling didn't just strike down the tariffs, it set a much stricter standard for invoking national security in trade. Now, the executive must provide a credible direct link between import restrictions and a specific demonstrable security threat. Vague claims about economic health no longer suffice. The government must show exactly how imports undermine security. Section 232 is now reserved for genuine vulnerabilities, not routine economic policy. This new legal test prevents misuse of national security as a pretext for protectionism. Future administrations must build robust, fact-based cases and consult with Congress before acting. The era of using national security as a catch-all for tariffs is over. The ruling ensures trade policy is grounded in law, not political expediency. The Supreme Court's decision sparked sharply divided reactions nationwide. Manufacturers and business groups celebrated, expecting lower costs and reduced inflation. Domestic steel and aluminum producers, however, warned of renewed foreign competition and potential job losses. The ruling exposed the difficult trade-offs in major policy decisions. Politically, Democrats and some Republicans praised the decision as a check on executive overreach, while Trump allies condemned it as undermining American industry. Public opinion remains split. Most Americans oppose the tariffs due to higher prices, but support persists in regions reliant on protected industries. The debate now shifts to Congress, where competing interests will continue to clash. The legal victory hasn't ended the political fight, it's just moved it to a new arena. The ruling forces lawmakers to confront the complexities of trade policy head-on. Following the ruling, the Biden administration ordered an immediate halt to tariff collection on steel and aluminum. Importers will see costs drop overnight, and billions in previously collected duties will be refunded, injecting liquidity into the private sector. For many businesses, especially small ones, these refunds offer a crucial financial boost. Domestic producers now face renewed foreign competition and are calling for government support, including subsidies and retraining programs. Policymakers must balance the broader economic benefits of removing tariffs with the need to support affected workers and communities. Economists predict the end of tariffs will ease inflation and reopen foreign markets for American exports. However, the transition will be uneven, with some regions and sectors facing tough adjustments. The challenge for leaders ensure the gains are widely shared while cushioning those hit hardest. The Supreme Court's decision sent ripples worldwide, with key U.S. trading partners welcoming the return to a rules-based approach. The EU, Canada, and Mexico quickly announced plans to lift retaliatory tariffs, boosting U.S. exporters. The ruling reassures allies that American policy is guided by law, not unilateral action. China's response was cautious, noting that deeper trade disputes remain unresolved. Many tariffs on Chinese goods imposed under other laws are still in place. Still, the decision signals a U.S. preference for negotiation over trade wars. The World Trade Organization and other institutions see this as a pushback against global protectionism. The ruling strengthens the case for resolving disputes through established norms, not unilateral measures. It marks a step toward a more predictable and collaborative global economic order. The Supreme Court's decision is more than a trade ruling, it's a fundamental shift in the balance of power within the U.S. government. For years, Congress ceded trade authority to the executive. Now, the pendulum swings back. Presidents must build consensus with lawmakers, leading to more durable and representative trade policies. The ruling may influence how courts view other broad executive powers, demanding clear, rational links to statutory authority. The judiciary signals a new willingness to enforce limits on presidential power, especially when it affects the economy and everyday Americans. This case reaffirms that no branch holds absolute power. Collaboration is essential. The immediate effects will be felt in prices and business, but the long-term legacy is a restored institutional balance. The rule of law, not executive decree, remains the ultimate authority in American democracy. Thanks for watching. Subscribe the channel for more updates.